Well, I thought he was a pretty refined gentleman as it was, but clearly a process of sanctification and refining continues in the world of spirits, in the realm of paradise. And in the other realm, we have both the wicked who are facing up to who and what they've been, as well as good people who are being taught the gospel, who are learning and growing and developing until the time of the resurrection.
So the state of hell is actually the place where people pay for unrepentant sins. That's part of that state, or that hell they go through. And Elder Talmage taught that to hell there was an entrance as well as an exit, just like a prison here. You commit a crime, you go in, you do your time, and you're released. When people have paid that, they will be resurrected to a degree of glory, and they won't be burning in hell forever.
Good. I was thinking that the prophet Joseph Smith made a statement about this, and that is this idea that there are people there who are learning the gospel, who are being taught it. Notice what he says. This is only weeks before his death. Every man that has been baptized and belongs to the kingdom has a right to be baptized for those who have gone before, referring, of course, to vicarious work in temples. And as soon as the law of the gospel is obeyed here, meaning in this life, in temples, by their friends who act as proxy for them, the Lord has administrators there, meaning in that realm, to set them free. So the movement then into paradise, once the ordinances have been properly performed.
I think that's really helpful doctrine there, because we do have some growth we can still do over there. We do still have some measure of refining that we can go through over there. One of my favorite books is by C.S. Lewis, The Great Divorce. It's kind of a neat allegory on going and talking to people that some are having very difficult time changing, others are changing, and I think when we go over to the other side, we're going to see that some will continue on with the same types of attitudes and perspectives they had here. Others will change and improve and grow and develop and draw closer to the Lord, I think. And so,
good.
I also think there's sometimes a misconception. We're spending a lot of time on the spirit world, and then he starts talking resurrection, that you're just magically resurrected and then you're perfected and there's no growth at all. But I don't think that's what he's saying here. He's talking about there's a restoration. Things will be restored. And over in chapter 41, verse 13, he says, my son, well, in 12 he says, what's the meaning of the word restoration? To take something in a natural state and place it in an unnatural state? He says, no. The meaning of the word restoration is to bring back again evil for evil, carnal for carnal, devilish for devilish, good for that which is good. It's the law of the harvest. We have it in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 7. Be not deceived, God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So you don't just magically become a good guy in the resurrection. You reap the seed you sow. Paul said that in 1 Corinthians 15. He said, if you plant wheat, is it going to come forth some other grain? Well, if you plant wheat, you'll get wheat. If you plant corn, you'll get corn. And that's why I brought this little thing that people have seen before. It depicts the law of restoration. If you pull out one of these balls and let it go, you get one off the end. If you pull out two, you get two off the end, and same with whatever. If you do it with three, if you hold it still, it works. But it's the law of restoration. You sow what you reap. If you sow celestial seeds, you're going to be resurrected with a celestial body. If you sow celestial seeds, you'll come forth with a celestial body. And that's why I think Alma has to talk, or doesn't have to, but he talks about the first resurrection as opposed to the last resurrection to his son.
Okay, let's clarify. So it seems to me we're bringing together two ideas that are very important, and that is, on the one hand, we need to understand that a person cannot in this life just live any way they want to, live as hellish and as damnable a life as they want to, and expect to come forth some glorious creature, spiritual giant in the resurrection. On the other hand, we also have that hopeful element that in the spirit world, change can and does take place. When we add the 138th section of the Doctrine and Covenants to what we've read here, We come away realizing that people can change there. I think the thing we have to always remember is we are not the judges, and God is the judge, thank heavens. And so surely a person, for example, who has been abused, who has been hurt for so many of their early years and takes those emotional and spiritual scars into adulthood, finds no friends, develops no friendships, cannot stand men, does not like women. When the gospel is presented to him, it's just darkness, nothing. It seems to me we have a merciful God on the other side that knows that. And that when we go into that world of spirits, all of those things that were beyond our power to control will be taken away. I think that's what Elder Packer in the April 92 conference meant when he said that one day those immoral influences in our moral environment will be taken away. And then the Spirit will be free to grow, to love, to learn. So the doctrine of the resurrection, let's just go to chapter 40, verse 23, and read what I think is one of the great, Brian, read for us verse 23, one of the great verses on the definition of the resurrection.
The soul shall be restored to the body, and the body to the soul. Yea, and every limb and joint shall be restored to its body. Yea, even a hair of the head shall not be lost, but all things shall be restored to their proper and perfect frame.
I mean, parts of this verse are just terribly comforting to me. You know? Not a hair of the head will be lost. Isn't that? It's more exciting for me than for you, but it's an exciting thing. The Book of Mormon just rings and rings and rings with the doctrine of the immortality of the soul. And now, again, 41, the doctrine of restoration, that concept that Todd demonstrated to us. Todd, would you read for us verses 10 and 11 of this chapter?
Do not suppose, because it has been spoken concerning restoration, that ye shall be restored from sin to happiness. Behold, I say unto you, wickedness never was happiness. And now, my son, all men that are in a state of nature, or I would say in a carnal state, are in the gall of bitterness and in the bonds of iniquity, and they are without God in the world. And they are gone contrary to the nature of God. Therefore, they are in a state contrary to a nature of happiness.
The natural man that King Benjamin described being an enemy to God, I think these verses are excellent in indicating why. They're not only working, the natural man is not only working at cross purposes to God, but sadly enough, they're working at cross purposes to their own happiness. They're working against themselves. Final thought I'd like us to look at is back at verse 3. Let me read that. And it is requisite, chapter 41, verse 3, and it is requisite with the justice of God that men should be judged according to their works. And if their works were good in this life, and this is, I so appreciate this, and the desires of their hearts were good, that they should also at the last day be restored unto that which is good. There's so many good things that many people would like to do, but are either kept from doing or are not able to do because of circumstances beyond their control. Elder Dallin Oaks spoke of that in his little book, Pure in Heart, when he said that my father-in-law had a version of this concept. He said, when someone tried to do something nice for him, but was prevented from doing that by circumstances, my father-in-law would say to them, thank you, I will take the good will for the deed. And I think the Lord blessed Abraham, for example, not because Abraham thrust a knife into Isaac, but because Abraham was willing to thrust a knife into Isaac. And so what a comfort to us to know that there's so many good things we want to get to, but we either burn out of energy or time or circumstances prevent. I think there's a great message there.
Yeah. And the reverse of that is true also in verse 5. For as he has desired to do evil all the day long, even so shall he have his reward of evil.
When the night
so
comes.
it works both ways, and it's repeated so many times. 14, therefore, my son, see that you are merciful, deal justly, judge righteously, and you'll reap what you sow. If you're merciful, you'll receive mercy. If you're just, you'll receive a just judgment.
Let me capsulize it by just saying, these chapters say to me so beautifully, we need to be pointed in the right direction at the time of death. if we've set our sights upon eternal life, and if we receive the ordinances of the gospel, including the blessings of the temple, and we're pointed in that direction when we die, we will continue in that same direction when we die, knowing that life and love and learning are forever.